Hello all, my name is Sage, and today I'm back with an upload after a very long time. I know it's been a while, uh, even since the last time I streamed it's been a few weeks, but today I'm going to be doing something that I should have done a long time ago, but I'm somewhat better at the game, so I'm able to well, not understand, but help people interpret things a bit more. So today I'm going to be doing the beginner's guide to Roy. And this has been a long time coming, so let's get straight into it. To start off, I'm going to go over jab. I want to kill the CPU. Okay. Yeah, I want to be done here. So for jab, I don't. I'm not gonna try to show the hitboxes. Well, actually, I might. Let's see. This is courtesy of the training Modpack. I highly recommend it if you can get it. Uh, too, because it's very useful. Let's see. Okay, frame advantage and hitbox visualization will be pretty nice. Okay. Well, it's gonna be on the platform now, but that doesn't really matter anymore. Jab is, as you can see, it's a very quick, spammable move. Which most jabs are pretty fast, but this one has courtesy, as you can see, of the hitbox. If let's say the Ryu player decided to jump in there, um, jab probably has a pretty big chance of beating it up because of the hitbox, as you can see. It's pretty generous and it's pretty good at anti-airing. But that's not actually the best application of jab. I'll probably go into it more, but jab is a very good combo tool for Roy. Like, as you can see there, I can get a forward air. That was innocent, but... Or I can get an up air. You can even get a jab side B at certain percents, including stuff like... Let's see if I can try to do it right here. It's kind of tight, but... Yeah, like that. And you can also do it at lower percents to get like a nice 20% damage. So jab is pretty good. I'll go into it later as the moves that you can combo into become more relevant, but for all things you really need to know, it's a very good move. I believe it is -9 on shield. I think that's actually what the shield whatchamacallit is for. Let's see. CPU behavior. No. No. Okay, shield toggles. Okay. It doesn't show it. Let's just make it infinite and then reset it. Okay, the frame advantage is there. As you can see, it's depending on how I space it, it can be -12. Although I do believe that's because I stealed it. Yeah, when it's unstealed, it's -9, which does mean it can be punished. Like, I do think Ryu has something he can do. I believe Shoryuken might be able to punish it. Maybe the up smash, but for a jab, that's honestly not too bad. Especially for a single hit, you don't have to worry about people falling out of it. And it does have a sour spot, but again, that's not really relevant. So, let's move on to the next move. I want to talk about forward tilt. This move, as you can see on shield, not the greatest. The hitbox is pretty generous. It can also anti-air people, but the main reason I wouldn't recommend doing that is because with a lot of Roy's moves, pretty much every single one, unlike Mars, you don't really have a tipper hitbox at the it's more at the hilt of the sword. Like as you can see, I'm pretty sure that's what the yellow hitboxes are, which is the sour spot, and it's pretty weak as you can see. Damage also isn't very good. So you mainly want to hit this as a sweet spot, and the main way to do this is usually in tech situations or reading people like rolling off the ledge, things of that nature. It's not really a move you just throw out, especially since as you saw it was like minus 13 or something on shield, so it's really just something you do when you're confident in doing it, but it's not so horribly unsafe that you can't use it ever, so it's pretty nice in that regard, especially since it kills. Let's get him to 100. It doesn't automatically kill, but obviously I didn't even have like any rage. I was at 12%, so let's get myself up to like 60. Yeah, it becomes a lot stronger, and he wasn't even at the ledge, so it's definitely a good move to secure KOs. Just not the most reliable thing in the world. Now moving on, I'm going to go over down tilt, which is... Actually, no, let's go over up tilt first, because there isn't really much to talk about with up tilt. Up tilt, as you can see, pretty damaging move. Let's see. Sweet spot. Yeah, that's 15% unsailed. Pretty nice. The main problem with this move, in comparison to Marth or Lucina's, is that while it does cover him pretty well, it's kind of slow to come out. And unlike theirs, where Marth has a pretty generous tipper hitbox that can hit on the platform, and Lucina's just doesn't have a sour spot, you have to be pretty close up with Roy's, which kind of makes it hard to like anti-air people or get them off you with it. So it's a bit counterintuitive, but Roy does have ways of using it. Again, catching rolls with it is pretty nice because of the way the hitbox works. Let's see if I can get him off the ledge. Well, if he rolled there, you'd see that we wouldn't have sour spotted, but the hitbox is pretty solid. Another thing you can do is Nair up tilt, which is actually kill confirm. This isn't what I would generally say you should be killing off with Roy, but it is an option. Yeah, it's definitely not gonna kill there. Yeah, as you can see, it doesn't really kill unless I have a rage, so... Although Ryu is one of the heavier characters, I believe, so it could kill earlier than this. But yeah, overall, up tilt is kind of a simple move. It's mostly for callouts. I wouldn't really spam it or anything. But a move I would spam is... yeah. A move I would spam is this. This is going to be kind of... But yeah. Even there, I didn't even like really try to space that much. It's a -3 low poking, relatively spammable her bug shifting down tilt, and the main benefit to it is if you know Martha Lucina's. They have a tipper. Martha has a tipper at the end, and Lucina's doesn't, obviously. And they usually mainly use it to check taste off of for stuff like down smash, Lucina especially. Roy gets to catch in way more, like a lot more on this down tilt. I'll get to that in a second. Let's just kill him. Okay, so let's give myself some rage to make this a more believable situation. CPU damage, Let's put it at like 60. Okay. Okay, like at around 60 it starts becoming a tech chase, right? And the main benefit to this is if you're in their head, like right there, it's up to the opponent to pick the right option, and then you can react accordingly. Now that was a pretty bad example, but you see, even if you get the right option to follow the... Even if you get the right option to get away from Roy, the fact that he can just put you in a tech situation is pretty messed up. Oops. I want to kind of get a life scenario here. That's a pretty decently strong move. So I do want to... Bruh, I'm getting... Jugeeya. It is something you definitely have to practice. See, okay, that was pretty easy to react to because it was a normal get up, but... You get the point. Like, if you down tilt and they roll in... Actually, I believe I can... Mix tech options. Get roll forwards. Okay. Oh. Okay. I don't think that worked. Mix tech options. Oh, okay. That makes a lot more sense. Yeah, stuff like that. It's a lot more dangerous at the ledge, so I'm gonna... Okay, they didn't miss the tick there. But yeah, it's a lot more dangerous at the ledge. You can do stuff like F smash, side B. Pretty much any hard call out. Again, it is kind of a specific percent to send them into tumble, and a lot of people are going to be prepared for it. But generally, you just kind of want to look at your opponent's habits and adapt off that. And for how safe it is, it's a very good move. So let us put these back to 1. I believe, yeah, that's all the tilts. So now we'll get into the smash attacks. In which case, I don't really have to talk too much about them. Actually, let's start with F smash, because F smash is probably the most important. F smash is insanely strong. You can also combo it off of a jab, although there you see it was a sour spot, but at earlier percents, and versus some heavier characters, and just in general bad DI, you can combo it into the sweet spot, which is actually pretty nice. Let's see if I can DI direction, DI in. Yeah, if they DI in, they're just dead, which is, I don't know why you would DI in that situation, but people do. And again, they're heavier characters, so it becomes harder to DI out of. So Roy can get pretty cheesy with the F smash. It's also just a very strong smash attack. I don't think the shield safety is really that relevant, but just to look at it. Yeah, minus. It's not something you should be using on Chud. But it is a very strong move. Another thing about it is if you see the hitbox, it's actually pretty good at anti-airing. And while it does have a sour spot, most of the time you air with it, you'll be hitting the sweet spot because they'll be jumping into you. So that is another thing that's pretty nice about it. But yeah, outside of that, outside of tech chases and the occasional combo stuff like jab, S smash is. I mean, it's a pretty good smash attack. Most characters don't have a smash attack that they can just like use to anti-air or kill incredibly early. Now for downs. Actually, let's talk about up smash. Up smash is a scoop hitbox, and I'm pretty tempted to say it's the worst out of Mart's and Lucina's. Mainly because Mart's, the scoop hitbox is pretty generous, and it does kill. It does kill at pretty later percents, but Roy's up smash isn't particularly that strong. Unless they're already on a platform, in which case, you know, Marth can tip her. And Lucina's just doesn't have a sour spot, which means it's generally stronger than Marth's. But it's not terrible or anything. I don't think you can combo into it. Oh, you probably can't off from there. I mean, it's decently strong, but the main problem is that you see even there it didn't really kill. Although it was still, to be fair. But, it's a scoop hitbox, but there's a lot of times where you just don't really get more reward for it. Like, if you try to call someone out on the ledge trying to neutral get up with like an up smash, you see like the Mario Bros characters doing that. Roy can just S smash your side B, and they'll die like at least 30% earlier, unironically, so not really worth it. There are some cases where they're on the platform and you up smash, it does kill them, which is pretty nice, but outside of that, nothing really much to be said about it. The shield safety isn't really that relevant because most of the time you're using it, it's either a call out or you're going to be below them. So it's just alright. Then we talk about down smash. This move is just bad. As you can see, it's actually decently powerful, but I'm actually gonna look at what frame it comes out because I think that'll make my opinion a bit more informed. Let's see, down smash. It comes out on frame 6. That's actually not bad. It's like half the frames it takes for its other smash attacks. So I guess if you need like a frame 6 get off me option, it's there, I guess. But generally you use down smashes to like cover rolls. And the second hit comes out on frame 21. Now, obviously if they do get caught by it, then it doesn't really matter. But again, Roy just has generally better things to cover rolls with, like F smash. I also, yeah, you can't even, or maybe you can, but again, it's not really strong enough to warrant using, so, I mean, it's alright, I guess. It's also, like, at bare minimum, minus 30 on shield, so, yeah, I just wouldn't use it, like, 90% of the time. Now that we're done with that, we can talk about its aerials, which are a bit more exciting than the smash attacks. So I'm gonna actually set them to 0. Starting with Roy's neutral air. This move is very good. As you can see, that was a true combo at 0 that just starts off nair. And you can also combo it off down throw into another nair. I don't know if that fair is true off that, but generally speaking, nair is a very good combo starter. It's also a good neutral tool and a way to cover platform situations because, as you can see, the hitbox is pretty massive, so they like to roll in on the tech roll into you on platforms a lot. This can be a pretty good way of covering it. Although I do think up air is better for that, which I'll get into later. But another benefit about nair, oh, I messed that up, is that if you hit the nair 1, it pretty much confirms into whatever you want. Maybe not like absolutely everything, but it does come out into enough. Okay, I did that too fast. Like, there you see, I comboed into the side B. You saw earlier with up tilts, you can do F tilt. Basically, you can do whatever you want up it. Personally, what I like to do it for is up tilt, as I mentioned earlier, F tilts, and you can also do a confirm. Okay, I messed it up. Okay, I got the sour spot, but you can't do that into jab. And I will be trying to do that later as I talk in a bear, but it's really not that important. The other good thing about Nair, especially with the fast fall, the hitbox is massive, and it's also relatively shaped on shield. Let's see. Yeah, I believe it is at worst. Okay. Did that. Okay, yeah. -6. Yeah, the further away you are from them, which is a bit counterintuitive because the sweet spot isn't there, but it's safer the more you space hit it, which can be pretty nice. And if I do the single hit, even when I don't really space it, it's still relatively safe. So that's pretty good. I wouldn't say it's Roy's best aerial, but it is pretty good. One thing you do have to note about it with Roy is there is a blind side under him, which is why fast falling with it can be pretty nice, but when dealing with small characters, adding air heavy game plan isn't really the best idea. Then we had to talk about forward air, which since he's shielding, I'll just put that right now. As you can see, -7. I believe at perfect spacing it is. Yeah, that was not perfect. I believe at best it can be like -4. Okay, yeah, I'm not doing it right, but it auto cancels from a short hop. It auto cancels from a short hop. It auto cancels from a full hop. Which is pretty nice. It makes the move a lot safer. Which is pretty nice. It's also, as you can see, used in combos. And if you don't know what auto-canceling means, it essentially skips the landing, like the landing recovery from a move. So like, there's some moves like I believe Ike side B. He can just do it, and then all of a sudden he's immediately actionable. It's pretty good. It basically allows you to move faster, which makes the move safer than it already is. And it comes out on frame 10. It's also decently good at killing. I wouldn't say it's amazing at killing, but you can combo into it off of a jab, which is pretty good. Like, even there without rage, that was pretty strong. Yeah. It's a pretty respectable kill option. Also, you can use it to combo, which I showed earlier. And the hitbox is pretty generous. It's also your main way of edge guarding with Roy. I don't usually suggest doing that, because with Roy being a fast faller, it can make it pretty hard for him to consistently hit people, but for some recoveries that are just kind of like, they're just going to get hit regardless, it's definitely a good option to go for. And I believe that's all I want to say about fair. I don't really have much else to say about it. It's just a good move. Now for up air is really good. This is how Roy gets most of his consistent damage. So obviously you have Nair, forward air, but you also have up air, which is amazing for the simple reason that off of a grab, you can pretty much always do it off of a down throw. You can also do it off the jab, and in general, it's just a very, like, even with the sour spot, it's a very harassing hitbox, and especially on a stage with platforms, it's very nice to just harass and get a bunch of damage off by simply just chasing the opponent. It is also very safe on shield, actually. Yeah, -5. Very safe. Okay, I actually did the I did the forward air mostly properly there. But yeah, you can see that's very safe. Most up airs are actually in this game are pretty safe on shield, but that's still pretty good. And another nice thing about the up air is that it combos into back air. I guess you could call this a kill confirm. I wouldn't really call it a kill confirm, but you can do it to do a lot of knockback. I don't know if it'll combo up this percent. Okay, it does. Now, Ryu shouldn't have died there because, you know, optimal DI will let you survive, but it is pretty strong, and this is a combo you can do at the earlier mid percents, and it's pretty consistent, especially since up air is so safe. Another thing about up air being so safe also makes it pretty solid to land with or use it to escape combos. There will be sometimes you're in a situation where you'll be getting juggled and you can just fast fall, since Roy falls so fast, he's a fast faller. And up air, and you can reverse the situation, or sometimes you can land onto their shield with up air, and since you're more often than not gonna be actionable before them, it's a pretty big opportunity, because a lot of people like to sometimes autopilot an out of shield option or assume they can punish stuff that isn't punishable, and you can cash out with something like a jab into something, or hell, even an F smash, depending on what they do. So yeah, up air's a pretty good move, and of course you can, I looked it up, but of course you can do jab up air, which doesn't kill as early as jab fair near the ledge, but it does. It's very consistent at like the way higher percents where you need them to die, which actually I'd say is generally more useful, because at that point a lot of the early or higher percent confirms Roy has kind of become a lot riskier to hit, or just don't work as consistently like jab back air. So it is worth considering using that at those percents, although he does have some other options, which I'll get into. Starting with back air, this move is really strong. It's also really safe. I didn't actually remember this move being this safe. Yeah, as you can see, I'm not even doing it the best. Yeah, it's still -7, but at best it can be -5 or 6. Even perfecting it, I don't really think it matters all that much, because it's just pretty safe. And again, it's mostly used as a combo ender, or you can do it pretty low to the ground to cover people rushing into you aggressively or rolls and stuff. But the main thing is definitely the fact that you can use it to end combos. Yeah, as you can see, jab back air is kind of a staple of Roy. It's very nice to have. Yeah, it's just very nice to have. I really don't. It's pretty much cookie cutter. They can DI it to make it harder, so you do have to take that into account. I'm accidentally airing a lot. Wow. It's the fourth time. Okay, there we go. Yeah, it's a very strong kill confirm. It also, the move comes out pretty fast at like 8-frame startup, so that's very nice. You can do that, although I don't know if he's on the platform, so that. There we go. Yeah, it gives you, when you nair it, That gives you a bit of extra percent that you might need, and you can also do that into the Lazlo, just set the combos off of the jab. So it's a very good move. One thing about it though, despite its safety, a lot of people think you can, when people hit your shield, that you can just use it to hit people out of shield. But with the amount of startup and the hitbox, all very good. It can just whiff, as you feel like, if I use it. There's like a noticeable blind spot over Y, and a lot of characters in this game do hitbox shift. So using this like out of shield to hit somebody, you're almost always gonna get either the sour spot or the move's just gonna whip entirely. So I would not recommend doing that. It's not one of those back airs. Now I believe we just had to talk about down air, which is by far his worst aerial, and while it's not amazing, you can still, I do believe that's actually a combo, as fake as that looks. Yeah, you can still combo off of it. The main problem is the startup. It's 16 frames of startup, which generally if a move is above 10 frames of startup and it's not super safe, it's not the most desirable thing in the world, that's for sure. It is only like -9 or 10 on shield, if you do it right. Yeah, that's actually not too bad, because that's, well, that's safer than some of his tilts. Yeah, that's like safer than some of his tilts. But generally the thing is, they're going to, like, the narrow hitbox, it's very hard to just land this. You have to usually land pretty aggressively, or generally if you want to make the most out of this move, you hit from underneath the platform or the ledge. Mainly the ledge is the more important thing. It's a pretty strong spike, so if you time it right, they just die. And even if you don't get the spike, if you do land it, you can pop them up and then do ace, I believe like S smash. I'm actually gonna try it. It's pretty hard to hit, because just timing it can be rough, especially if you're not used to it, but actually might be pretty hard to do versus Ryu specifically. Yeah. If I don't get it in the next few tries, I'm just... Yeah, Ryu's... Sure, you can make it pretty hard to get those. But generally versus weaker recoveries, you can do downer through the ledge. I'll actually just leave. Well, no, it wouldn't work the same as the problem off with the ledge. But yeah, generally you can do like... Actually, let me see if I can get this other jab. Yeah, it's pretty hard to do first three. But yeah, if you prop them off the ledge, you can do stuff into like a, I believe like a smash attack or a forward air. So that's pretty nice. Although this is definitely the least useful Roy aerial. Honestly, using it on the platform and just like aggressively landing to catch people off guard can be nice, because you do get some good damage off of it. But it's not really something I'd recommend you doing. So with that in mind, we can now move on to special moves, which are pretty standard. Most of them are kind of just like, not like the other moves weren't, mostly just reinventions of Mark Skip, but this especially are pretty similar. I'm gonna start with Neutral B. This, I believe this is a move that's supposed to shield break, but I'm just gonna say it's just straight up worse than Lucina's or Mart's. For one, while their hitbox is much more narrow, they have the option of angling theirs, which is pretty nice, especially Mars since he has a tipper on his. You can actually, if you feel yourself, you can do it to like edgeguard people. I've done it before and it kills particularly early. And angling it can also make it easier to hit people on the ledge and things of that nature. Roy doesn't really have that option, but I don't know if it's his airspeed or his air acceleration. But he can use it to be somewhat mobile, so yeah, that's the most basic scenario. But generally that's how you're gonna use it. You can also use it to 2-frame, which is wouldn't really. I mean, you can do it, but generally it's just easier to ledge trap, and oftentimes when you do that, you kind of just give them a free option off the ledge if you mistime it. So you do have to be pretty precise with it. Generally it's just not that great of a move. I'm gonna keep it real. But it does have the use in those niche scenarios. Next we talk about side B. This is the move. This is the move. This is the special move. I'm gonna put him at 70 to show how insane this is. So on PS2, a relatively large stage, side B just kills Ryu. And again, I mentioned earlier that Ryu is one of the heavier characters, so this move is insane. And I showed earlier that you can combo this off of... okay, I did that wrong. You can combo it up jab. At this higher percent, it's harder to get, but at like the mid percents, it's a bit easier. Okay, I messed it up. Let's see. See if I can get it. Yeah, it is very strong. And that's just the side. You can do it at earlier percents, like I said, mentioned earlier in the video. Just get a nice little with the up variant, or the down variant, or the side variant, which does the least damage, but it does send the farthest by far. And as a tech chasing option, that makes side B incredibly good. You can do it with Lucina's and Chroms, I guess, but the Roar gets off is just a lot better. Also, you have stuff like generally the up sending one is it's very all of these are unsafe on shield, so I'm not even gonna attempt to like show you the frame data because like all above. Even the earlier hits are all like over 15 frames on shield, so they're gonna be able to punish you if you do hit it, and they just, you know, they read that option. But most of the time, the move's lame. Like these hitboxes are massive. The down variant is obviously very good at shield poking. I'm actually gonna make them shield and hold it. As you can see, that's a lot of shield damage. Although I'm kind of doing it the wrong. It's kind of hard to do on a platform. But even then, you see like a few, like 1 or 2 of the hits miss, and that was still a lot of shield damage. There isn't really much to say about the down variant because it's mostly just to hit the smaller characters, but at the higher percents, you'll notice that it can become a lot harder to hit the side B that you want to kill. Okay. And usually the way of remedying that is to link it into something like that. Okay. Yeah, let's see this. Yeah, usually the way to help it link into it better is to do the up or the down variants. So do keep that in mind. Also, I just realized I didn't talk about dash attack. That's not a good sign. This move is well, I just remembered it. Dash attack. It's got like, yeah. Let me see. Yeah, 13 frames of startup. Minus 17 to 21 on shield. It's pretty strong if you do land it though. one funny thing about it is that Roy players found out that if you do jab and they DI away to get away from the jab back air, you can just hit them with jab dash deck, which is actually pretty strong. I don't know if you should really utilize that because again, even if they do DI out, usually you still get the sour spot barrier. Even if it misses, you're still at least in a neutral position. But it's an option, I guess. I just don't really like this move because of how much unsafety you're in, and what stuff like a tilt I can do. I can do this. You know, I just don't really. What I value in a dash deck mostly is if I can realistically use it to punish people for whiff punishes, if the hitbox is big, or if it just comes out fast enough, and Royce, it's just none of those. It's strong, but that's really the only thing it has going for it. Anyways, off to the sidetrack. Now, we're gonna talk about the up B. This up B is a bit worse, or not even a bit, it just is worse height-wise than Marth's or Lucina's. Like you see, I do get there because of my grab hands, but it's not the worst thing in the world, but let's say I'm down here. I'm gonna die. Martin Lucina more than likely can reach from there. And similar to Martin Lucina, you can also tilt it up a bit to the side. Although Royce is a lot more horizontal in that nature. So that's actually pretty nice to have. The main thing about the up B, that's the most important thing. Let's see. It comes out on frame 9, which is fairly fast. The main thing, I don't know if it armors when you hit him with the aerial. I don't believe it. It might actually. I wouldn't be surprised if it did. But at least on the ground, let's okay, maybe a new special. Actually, let's see if I can get him to do like. Let's see if I. Okay, I'm doing two of those. Okay, yeah, he's just gonna hold it. So let's see if I can go into the toggles. What would be the best way for this? I'm gonna try. I don't think it actually changes much. Okay. Yeah, as you can see, I armored through the dash stack and he gets hit, and particularly nice since it comes out. Huh? Oh, it's because I was in the settings. I was about to see why is that not hitting me. I was gonna say particularly because it comes out on frame 9. You can actually use it as an auto shield option, and you see Ryu just dies there. Although it does take generally a pretty long time for that to happen, so keep that in mind. But it is an option, and a frame 9 auto shield option with armor is actually pretty nice. It means even... I don't know when the armor starts. Oh, it is... It starts on frame 4, so even if you're like... Even if you're particularly, whatchamacallit, even if you're particularly, a particularly fast move, you can still up B, and just, you're just gonna beat it out. That being said, due to the way it's angled, it is pretty punishable if you do miss, so, like about 30 frames of ending lag, you do not want him to catch you slipping like that. Finally, we have by far his worst special, the counter. Well, maybe not by far the worst, but it's a counter. There's not really much to talk about. The main reason I say it's by far the worst is the most useful application of a counter is like well, that moves too strong. But let's say I want to fall with Ryu. It's a lot harder to do since Roy is a fast faller, and it's like an A-frame startup for the counter. So it comes out on like frame 8. It's invulnerable on frame 7, so essentially a frame 7 counter, right? And it has a pretty big range from like for 8 to 27 or 9 frames, but for one, counters are pretty predictable even on stage, so you're gonna have to gamble with it. And off stage, since Roy sinks like a rock, obviously you're not really gonna want to go out there and do that because a decent amount of characters at least can mix up how they recover, and you do not want to put yourself in a situation where you're getting reversaled. So that's definitely not what you want to do with Roy, more often than not, unless you're doing like a suicide strat. Now I guess we can talk about his grab, or more specifically the throws. This isn't really much to talk about. But yeah, let's stop. Okay. The grab hitbox in general is pretty weak, and it's a frame 7 grab. But I mean, grabs, no matter how flawed they are, unless you literally just get nothing off throws, they're generally good. Just to deal with shield pressure, and Roy's pretty effective at applying shield pressure, so it's pretty nice. The most notable throw by far is definitely down throw. It's your combo throw. You can do stuff like Nair. I don't think fair. Okay, fair is probably real. You can do stuff like that and also do up air. So it's a pretty consistent combo throw, even at the higher percents if you do instant double jump. So that's pretty nice. F throw is a positional throw. A lot of characters have something like this. Not particularly great. You don't really want to F throw people with Roy, but hell, if you want to get cheeky, you can like F throw and then try to read their tech option and get like a side B or something. I just wouldn't really do that specifically for a tech option because you have things like down tilt that are just a lot better, or you can just combo them off down throw into up air and then just combo them. Similar with back throw. Back throw is actually, I'd argue, a bit better because the way it sends them, as you can see, he got put onto the platform, which can actually make this a bit cheeky. Yeah, like, see there a trade, I didn't time it perfectly, but it can put them into a situation where it's pretty easy to hit them with the back air. In general, it's also fairly weak, so you can, a lot of people like to panic, like, why would you back throw me? So they jump and then you can just read it with the back air, but it's not particularly useful. Finally, we have up throw, which is a throw that kills, not a kill throw. I think there's an important distinction. It doesn't kill at 162 when I have decent rage. That kind of just tells you all you need to know. It is nice when you're in those very scrambly last hit situations and they're just not dying. But usually at that point something's went wrong, and while you can do it, even then it still might not even bail you out of the situation. So it's not the greatest thing in the world. And with that, that's mostly everything I wanted to talk about with the character. There are some general tips that I'll give, which I'll get into in a second, but yeah, generally Roy is a pretty simple character, so I'll just cut to a different stage and talk about stuff like where Roy likes to go and things of that nature, and how to play neutral, things like that. Okay, so here we are on FD. Generally speaking, Roy does pretty well into most characters. His frame data allows him to match the pace and the tempo, and his bigger hitboxes also allow him to outrange a decent amount of characters. However, when Roy starts to struggle, most notably, is when, for instance, a character like Joker. Joker combos Roy pretty well because he's a fast faller. He's also very thin, and he can slow the pace of the game down with stuff like guns and AHA. And generally it can become a problem because Joker also has stuff like Arsene, and I just wanted to use Joker as the main example because he's kind of one of the more annoying Roy matches, but generally the main thing, if you're playing Roy, or if you're fighting Roy, you have to worry about the pace. If the pace is fast, Roy, more often than not, unless, getting like absolutely curb stomp, is usually doing better in the matchup or just the match in general. If the pace is more slow pace, like let's say you're using Samus or something, and you're Samus or Snake, and you're setting down your projectiles, you're making sure that Roy can't just like mindlessly run in on you and out frame data you. Generally speaking, Roy is going to struggle in those aspects. So that's always important to note as Roy. He is a very mashy character, however, there are some matchups where you're going to be like, you're generally going to want to take a backseat. Dash dancing with Roy is a pretty good strong suit because you don't always want to just run in. You want to make them fear you in some way, even if you're not pressing anything, especially since your buttons come out, like I said, explained earlier when I was going over the move overview. Your moves come out relatively fast, so you can whiff punish people, especially with Roy's nice running speed and initial dash. So that's the main thing you want to use with Roy to scare your opponents, even when you're not actually doing anything. Another thing is obviously spacing your arrows are important. Bear is a very nice hitbox to keep people away. This move is pretty nice in the ways I mentioned it before, but also keeping people out. While Roy is a very aggressive character, there are some times where you just want to keep them away from you. Like, fighting game characters are a pretty good example. Like, I generally don't like it when Ryu or Ken are trying to jump in on me or just run up to me, so fair is a very nice, checkmate button. Jab, I didn't really mention this earlier, but it can hit people under the ledge, which makes it very good for keeping people at the ledge, depending on their ledge animation. So if their hitbox goes above the ledge, or it's like their hurtbox is noticeably above the ledge, or sometimes, I don't even think it actually matters too much, but generally speaking, since the jab hits down there, it can hit people at the ledge. Generally speaking, juggling people is your main goal for racking up consistent percent. Nair combos into fair are pretty nice, but no matter where you are getting a grab and getting an up air and potentially linking that into a lot of percent, especially on stages with platforms, is very nice. Speaking back on the ledge trapping thing, there's a lot of tech, like mostly focused on jab, but okay. Let's see if they roll off the ledge. dash tags me because that was minus on hit. This isn't generally going to be a common ledge interaction, but since Roy's moves do come out fairly fast and his jab solves a lot of the problems for you, you oftentimes do get pretty easy grabs. I didn't mean to up smash there for that. I skipped it actually. So you can actually get some pretty big payouts off the ledge. So for anyone using them, that's pretty important. But for anyone fighting him, again, slowing the pace down, making sure that he doesn't get to really get too much off tech chases, and playing smart around the ledge. Oftentimes just being patient, because while he can't hit you off the ledge with stuff like jab, you can, depending on the character, you can slow it down. Some characters, very rare, but sometimes they can even go under the stage. You have stuff like wall jumps, so making it pretty uncomfortable for Roy to just freely ledge trap you and get a bunch of percent is always nice. So that is really all I wanted to add. As for stages, FD, I'm not a big fan of FD, but that's more so other characters, not necessarily because Roy is garbage on FD or anything. But generally speaking, with Roy, stages like Small, Battlefield, Town, and City are very nice. You can get some very good early kill percents, kill percent combos there. Especially Town. Town has, let me go to the stage real quick. Incredibly generous side blast zones. There are harder top blast zones, but that doesn't really matter because Roy generally is killing horizontally, not vertically. Let's go down the city. I probably could kill Joker at 50 at this side of the stage. Let's do 55. Say I'm at 65. Yeah, I just said. Roy on Town also gets the benefits of juggling people. Pretty big hitboxes for platforms and stuff. So even with the FD layout, the side blast zones still help him out a lot. So generally speaking, Roy is very good on Town and City. I wouldn't really say he has a stage that's particularly horrible for him, since most of them do help him out a lot. Although, I do believe Smashville is also very nice because of the side blast zones and the giant platform in the middle of the stage that lets you juggle people easier. If anything, Roy should probably just be avoiding what the other character's best stage is. If it's like Town, then maybe not, but if it's like Battlefield or something, like a Mario on Battlefield or PS2, although Mario is a character that is very dangerous on multiple stages, but things like that, like Kazuya on FD, you do not want to take certain characters to their best stages, which does give you a bit more flexibility in your stage choices because you don't actually have to, be enabled by certain stages for Roy to be a pretty good character. But that is really all I wanted to add in, after the fact of talking about his moves. Roy is a pretty simple and very strong character. He does have some problems, like I mentioned earlier. He can be comboed pretty well, and he's pretty easy to gimp since he's a fast faller and his recovery is kind of weak. But he's a very strong character, and he has the fundamental basic combos that I went over in this video that are just pretty strong. So if you guys enjoyed this guide, let me know. Comment, like, and potentially subscribe. I know it's been a while. I do want to do more of these for other characters as well in the future. Since this is more of a basics thing, I don't really have to restrict myself. So with that being said, my name is Sage, and you guys have a good day, and peace.